Everything that you have done in O levels will be using that over here. Okay. But let me just give you a brief explanation that will be important. Okay. Now let's say you have these 2 points A and B. Let's call this x1 and y1. And let's call this point x2 and y2. Okay. The first will be distance between 2 points. Now when we are finding distance between 2 points, देखो, yes, we remember the formula and everything, but I want you people to understand one thing over here. How do we get the formula? Okay, so this is x2 and this is x1. So this distance will be x2 minus x1. This is y2 and this is y1. So this will be y2 minus y1. So this distance AB, when we apply Pythagoras theorem, we will say AB square is equals to A square. A की जगह I take x2 minus x1 और Pythagoras theorem सही है, और B की जगह we are applying the same formula, C square equals to A square plus B square. ठीक है. It will be a very quick revision of what you have already done for in your O levels, and then we'll go directly to the questions. So this is how you find the distance. This is how you use the formula. ले लो बेटा असीम, तो बुकिंग करोगे हमारे हाइस्ट है, हमारे हाइस्ट. Okay, so this is how you find the distance between the 2 points. ठीक है. Second thing is midpoint. Midpoint is as simple as, देखो, the center point over here, right? So the center point of x कैसे निकालेंगे? I mean, it is as like we find the average. Okay, let's say midpoint का coefficient, the coordinates are x comma y. So x comma y will be, how do I find the midpoint of these 2 points? ये x1 है और ये x2 है. Let's say this is 2 and 10. We add, so we will write x1 plus x2 upon 2, comma. I will not spend too much time on this. ठीक है. एक तो ये midpoint हो गया. The next thing that we are supposed to know is the gradient. That is the ratio of rise over run. I will again not waste too much time over here. y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. एक ये चीज पता होनी चाहिए. The next thing is equation of a straight line. Now, equation of a straight line, when you were doing your O levels or GCSEs, you learned your equation of a straight line through this formula, y equals to mx plus c. You can use this or the formula that I think I've shown you as well, y minus y1 is equals to m into x minus x1. To find the equation of a straight line, you just need what? You need the gradient and you need a point on the line, which we call x1 comma y1. ठीक है? Any point on the line. This is how you'll find the equation of a straight line. And the last thing that you're supposed to know is, and very important, and that is perpendicular bisectors. Okay. What do I mean by perpendicular bisector? Well, let's say this is point A and this is point B. Okay. A perpendicular bisector passes through the midpoint of A and B at right angle. Now, if two lines are perpendicular, I hope everyone knows from your O level that if this gradient is 2, Subhan, what is the gradient of this perpendicular line? Minus 1 over 2. Negative reciprocal, we call it. If the gradient is minus 3 over 4, this will have a gradient of 4 over 3. Okay? We write it like this, m1 times m2 is equals to minus 1, ऐसे भी लिख लेते हैं. If you want to prove two lines are perpendicular, when we multiply their gradients, you get -1. सही है? 2 into minus half कर लो, 4/3 into -3/4 कर लो, you get -1 if two lines are perpendicular. Bisector means passing through the midpoint. ठीक है? So if you have the midpoint, if you have the gradient, you can easily find the equation of the perpendicular bisector as well. ठीक है? But I will not spend too much time explaining this. This is all what you have done previously. So what I will do right now is, yeah. So the first thing will be to find the equation of the perpendicular bisector. I will just add it over here. Okay. You can note it down as well. Step क्या होना चाहिए? To find equation of a perpendicular bisector. So obviously for the perpendicular bisector of, let's say, 2 points AB लिख लेते हैं. So the first step will be you will find midpoint of AB. ये आ जाएगा. Second step will be find gradient of AB. ठीक है? So once you find the gradient of AB, let's call this M1. Gradient of perpendicular bisector will be what? -1 upon, हाँ, इसको यू भी कह सकते हो, है ना? Negative reciprocal. And then once you have the gradient, you can just use this equation. I will show you an example, but let's go to the questions. Hopefully that will be enough for you to understand. Acha. I will straight go on to the main questions. Okay. Okay. Let's start with some basic practice. Question 10 and question 11. Simultaneous equation as well, along with some coordinate geometry. Guys, you have 5 to 10 minutes to solve this equation, and then we go on to parallel and perpendicular lines. So you will first write this as, in place of y, you can write x minus 3, है ना? You can write x minus 3 whole square is equals to 4x. Expand करो. X square minus what? 6x plus 9 is equals to 4x. Bring the 4x over here. Do middle term breaking. What will it become? X minus 9, x minus 1. So straightforward. So x is equals to 9 आ गया 1 point, and the other point is x equals to 1. Put 9 over here, y will be is equals to 6, and y will be is equals to -2. Right? So you have, let's call this point A, let's call this point B. To find the midpoint of AB, x1 plus x2 upon 2. 9 plus 1 upon 2 is 5. And then y1 plus y2 upon 2. 6 plus -2 upon 2 is 2. Midpoint आ गया 5, 2, right? And then finally for the distance, x2 minus x1 is 8 square. क्या करें? 9 minus, so 6 minus -2 is also 8. Plus 8 square. 64 plus square root of 128 done. Right? So these are straightforward questions. And they do come up in past papers with simultaneous equations. Okay. Okay. I want to focus on these questions today, because eventually this will lead us to directly to past papers. Dekho. What do you mean by collinear? Same line. So it means that the gradient of AB and BC will be same. So I will not do it any further. Let's stop over here. Or gradient of AC, whatever you want to take. The midpoint of the line segment P and Q is M. The R has coordinates this. So that RM is perpendicular to PQ. Fine. So what is the midpoint of PQ first of all? Mentally बता दो. -4 plus 6 is 2 upon 2, 1. है ना? 5 plus 3. So this is the midpoint and this coordinate is M. R is what? -3, -7. Now what is the gradient of RM? Y2 minus Y1 will become -10, -7, -3. And then divided by -3 -1 is 4. So the gradient will be 5/2. What is the gradient of PQ? PQ कैसे आएगा? 1 minus 5 is -4 है ना? Upon 6 -4 is +10. खत्म. Negative reciprocal आ गया. Show that they are perpendicular, but it is always better that he show it like this. देखो ना मिड पॉइंट कैसे आता है x1 plus x2 divided by 2 y1 plus y2 divided by 2 तो this is the coordinate of m our coordinates were already given ठीक है yeah I hope those are, give me a thumbs up if you're clear with question 2 Ali Mustafa Sama Uruj I plan to go a bit quickly over these questions okay I would want us to focus on past paper questions mostly with coordinate geometry next class I will cover up circles and that will be it. Oh, by the way, if that will be it, it means that will be the it for P1 syllabus, which means that we can focus on integration as well, thoda sa, and then we can start off with S1 M1 as well, hopefully very soon. Okay, now listen everyone. Some things that you people have to understand is that you are expected to know your GCSE or O-level maths. Meaning, if this is a rhombus, what you should know is that in a rhombus, if I make a diagonal, if I make two diagonals like they are shown over here, what you yes, thank you, beta. These are some properties that you're expected to know. Okay, then the diagonals in a rhombus, they will intersect at 90 degrees. Okay? I'm assigning you some questions and then I will take you directly to past paper questions. Okay, let's give it a try. Okay, 4, 6, 8. 4, 6, 8, 9. Let's quickly do these questions first. Make a trapezium if you have to. 3 and 5. 3 and 5. -5 and 4. -5 and 4 is over here. 1 and -5. It says AD is parallel to BC. It means, let's say the coordinates of D are not given, but they will be what? Okay. An angle ADC. So first of all, let's go step by step. This is A, this is B, this is C. ADC is 90 degrees. D कहाँ पे होगा? And AD is parallel to A, B, C, D will be somewhere over here. I don't know. A, C, it's a trapezium है ना? Trapezium कैसा होता है कि इसमें two sides are parallel and which are parallel over here? AD and BC. Okay, so D should be somewhere over here like this. Let's say यूं होगा. ये देखो. Wow, I made it बेटा. अच्छा लग रहा है ना? ऐसा. Lovely. So yeah, so if you're able to make these figures, that will make your job easier. Now it says ADC is 90 degrees. I make a 90-degree over here. I know the coordinates of A and the coordinates of D you will write as x, y. अब I know couple of things. I will be able to make two equations. How? Parallel वाले से भी और perpendicular वाले से भी. Yeah. So first let's take the gradients of. I'll just tell you what to do. Take gradient of AD is equals to gradient of BC. You will make one equation. Acha. And we know that the gradient of AD and DC are perpendicular. So how will I make an equation with this? You will write gradient of AD is equals to what? नहीं ना, वो तो ऊपर बना लिया ना. We have made this equation. How will I make this equation for AD and DC? How will I make it? Anyone? Negative reciprocal is equals to -1 upon gradient of DC. You will get your second equation and then you will find the values of x and y. Okay. I will not do the equation thing completely. I would want you people to try it on your own. I think I've done it enough for you people to understand. Those who are online, thumbs up, beta, if you have understood and you. Okay, so in question 9, it says this line means the x axis at P and y axis at Q. What you will just have to do is make your x and y axis. Okay, and then you make a line. You call this point P. X coordinate will be x and this will be 0, this will be q and this will be 0 comma y. Okay. Now it says the gradient of the line PQ is 2 upon 5 and the length is 2 root 29. Find the value of A and B. Now this line has the equation. Can I simplify it? I can write it as BX minus AY is equals to AB, right? LCM, I've taken the LCM over here. Okay. Now in this equation, let's put y equals to 0. So if I put y equals to 0, I will get bx is equals to ab. Wow. So x coordinate is a. Let's write a over here. Wow. What a revelation. And then in the same equation, when I put x is equals to 0, I will get minus ay is equals to ab. A cancel. So y is equals to minus b. So this will be minus b. The gradient of this line, gradient of PQ will be y2 minus y1, 0 minus minus b upon x2 minus x1, and that is equals to 2 upon 5. So the first equation will become b upon a is equals to 2 upon 5 or 2a is equals to 5b. And what I also know is that the length of the line is 2 root 29. Okay. How do I find the length of a line? The formula we know is for PQ, x2 minus x1. So a minus 0, a square, plus 0 minus minus b, will that become a plus b? And that is equals to 2 root 29. If I whole square both the sides, I will get a square plus b square is equals to 4 times 29, which is how much? 116. है ना? Now to find the value of a or b, I know that a is 2a is equals to 5b. So a is equals to 5 upon 2b. 5 upon 2b whole squared plus b squared. Take the LCM. 4 times 116 is how much? 464, है ना? 464 divided by 29 is how much? 16. हाँ, तुक्का लगा रहा हूँ. So b is equals to 4. ठीक है. Now once I get b is equals to 4, I know that 2a is equals to 5b. So a will be is equals to 10. So the coordinates of this p will be 10 comma 0 and this will be 0 comma minus 4. Okay. However, the only thing people will have to work on is your algebra. If your algebra is decent enough, You will figure out most of the questions very easily, especially with coordinate geometry. This is the easiest topic so far. Okay. For your practice, better for you people to get into a rhythm, I want you people to try these questions out, and this should be taking, let's say, 20, 30 seconds per question. Just do these questions just to get into some practice. Okay. Even though this is the easiest thing you can do, uh, plus minus 4. Good question. Yeah. But it says A and B are positive constants. Okay. So I have to take the positive value. But yeah, you're right. I just looked at it and that's why it works. Okay. Yeah. Okay, everyone. I don't want people to skip on these questions. I will just tell you how to do this one. We know the formula is, okay, so y minus 9 is equals to 2 into x minus 4. Be very quick with these questions. 2x plus 1. Okay, first equation. Quickly go through these questions, solve all of these so you're into practice with parallel and perpendicular lines as well. And that will be enough for us to solve any past paper question then. Okay, for 2B, what you will do is, again, this is O-level stuff. Gradient, Subhan, what is the gradient? Mentally, batao. Uh, -5, na? 9, minus 9 upon 5, na? And then when you're finding the equation, you can use any of these points. मैं इसको use कर लेता हूँ. Y minus 4, x minus minus 2, so x plus 2. That's it. Okay. Uh, Find the equation of the line parallel to this line. What is the gradient of this line? 3. What is the gradient of this line? Minus 1 upon 2. Beta, when you make y your subject, so if the gradient of this line is minus 1 upon 2, the gradient of the parallel line will also be minus 1 parallel. Hai. This is parallel. For perpendicular, yes, we will do that, what you're saying. Okay, question 3 and 4 is something you are supposed to finish today. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hopefully, you will be able to do all of these today. I will have a quick question not on solving, but exactly on how to attempt these kind of questions. Look, whatever you have learned regarding midpoint, gradient, perpendicular lines, that is all you will need to figure out how to solve these questions. I will just discuss a couple. Let's say question number 15. If I know the gradient of AB, do I know the gradient of DC? Yes, I know, right? Equal to the gradient of AB. And I also know that the gradient of AB multiplied with the gradient of AD will be what? -1, right? Uh, so that is something I know. If I know the gradient of AB, I also know the gradient of AD as well, right? If I know that as well, can I find the equation of AD? Yes, I can. Yes. If I have the equation of AD, I can also find the equation of DC using the gradient at this point. If I solve these two equations simultaneously, I will be able to find the point of intersection, right? 7 marks, straightforward, beta. Say any question, I can pick out any question, 7 marker, 10 marker. Let's कोई सा मुश्किल देखता हूँ if there is any, but there isn't any difficult one. देखो, find the coordinates of C. Again, to find this coordinate, if I can find the equation of this line and I can find the equation of this line, L2 and L1, I can uh, find the coordinates of C. But how? Let's focus on that. देखो, Do I have the gradient of AB? Yes, I have, which means I also have the gradient of BC, perpendicular line. Okay. I have this point, I have the gradient, I can find the equation of BC very easily. सही है? If you have done the practice for the equation. अच्छा. The line L1 is parallel to OB. What is O? 0, comma 0. Can I find the gradient of OB? Yes. Which means I can find the gradient of L1 as well. Yeah. Equal है ना? Parallel है तो equal है. Right? So if I have the gradient of L1, I have a point on L1. Can I find the equation of L1? Yes. I have this equation. I have this equation solving simultaneously. I can find C as well. Huh? हाँ ना, तो यही तो कर लेना है, BC is L2 ना, और L1 की निकालनी हो like this simultaneously. That's it. ठीक है. Any question you pick out and you will have to do exactly the same way, and that will be it, beta. सही है. This is all there is in quant geometry. I would want you people to figure out, try out most of the questions on your own. I will do some of them in the next class, but we'll do first circle and then go on to quant geometry. Before we end the class, I will request you people one last question, beta. Before I end the class, I would want you people to do one question, and that should be enough. Okay. And I will want that question to be question number 35. Do 35 and leave. If you have the coordinates of A, which are 1 and 3, the coordinates of C are X and Y, but we have the coordinates of the midpoint 6.5, comma 8.5. X1 plus X2, 1 plus X upon 2, 3 plus Y upon 2. Compare, बिल्कुल, compare this with this with this. You will get the coordinates of C as well. अब सुनो, once you have the coordinates of C, you have the gradient. Can you find the equation of BC? Yes, you can. Once you have the equation of BC and you have this equation, simultaneously solve करने से B का आ जाएगा. जब B आ गया और ये दिया हुआ है, तो D भी आ जाएगा वापस यही वाला मेथड करने, using the midpoint method. 9 marker, beta. Got it? Guys, are you clear? Everyone, give me. I thought it was a bit tricky, but it wasn't tricky at all. Ali, Mustafa, Wajiha. Beta, again, देखो, you will have to spend time on these questions. They will not be difficult at all, but because you will not be spending time over the next 2 days, which I'm pretty sure you won't, you will be struggling with it. And then again, October 2026. Bye bye, Khuda Hafiz.